And we are back for another episode of Michigan Postgame Live. Go Blue, everybody. Michigan dominates Rutgers. Yes, I said it. Dominates Rutgers 31-7. We're going to bring on our co-host in a second here, but I just want to remind everybody to please like, subscribe, and share this with a friend so that we can blow this thing up here. My name is John Diadamo, and I'm going to take you through the next hour of Michigan Postgame Live to give our takes on everything. And today, Dre could not join us due to some obligations that he had to do. So we have a special co-host today. You all know him, Jason Moose, Michigan Man Moose in the house. Jason, welcome to the show, Michigan Postgame Live. Go Blue, buddy.
What's up, John? Good, big win for Rutgers against Rutgers today, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, early on, you and I were talking about it early on in that first drive. I was kind of like, what was going on with the secondary? I think, Will Johnson coming back and some of the, obviously you had, Moore coming back, and you had Makari Page, obviously, is still, I think,
yeah.
So it just took a minute, to really start. But once they started, man, Michigan was locked in.
Yeah, that was huge news. It was good to see, Johnson back out there, and the others. Yeah, that was huge for us. Yeah, I think at the beginning it was kind of rough, but they played really well the second half.
Absolutely. So real quick, we'll just remind everybody, follow you on Twitter, Jason_Moose313. Get you, so Jason is, especially if you follow recruiting. So Jason's one of the most locked in people when it comes to Michigan recruiting that I know. So, if you're interested in those takes, definitely check him out on Twitter. So here's the link. I'll post it right here, and then we'll get started with some takes. Absolutely. So, so reminder, folks, that we do have a sponsor called Ticketsmarter.com. It is football season. Get your tickets for the games. You want to go to the big house. You want to go wherever. Get your tickets at Ticketsmarter.com and put in promo code BIG for $10 off a purchase of at least 100. BIG 20 for $20 off a purchase of at least 300. Get your tickets at Ticketsmarter.com. We'll post that here as well so that you all can go ahead and do that now if you need your tickets. So with all that said, this was kind of, now I was a little off on my predictions a little bit. I got Michigan's score almost exact. So I had said Michigan 28, Rutgers 17. Because I thought Rutgers would probably get a defensive takeaway and, maybe score on defense. But, Michigan scored about what I expected them to, and Rutgers not so much. But my main take here, Rutgers had a great game, or Michigan had a great game plan, as I expected, because Rutgers, their defense is 19th in the country. Their offense is not 19th in the country. And so as long as you can keep that defense on the field and tire them out, and I think that after that first blip there for the rest of the game, that was, I think, what Harbaugh and company wanted to do. What did you think about that and kind of the approach that Michigan took there?
Well, first off, I gotta give respect to Rutgers, man, because that defense is a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
In the first half, they were stuffing the run, man, pretty good, and I was like, oh wow. So I was a little bit worried at first in the beginning. I'm like, oh no, here we go again, because Michigan has had its struggles running up the middle, and Rutgers is doing a good job of stopping that in the first half. But then, like you said, Michigan came out in the second half, and I think they just do what they do. They played bully football and just wore Rutgers down physically.
Yeah, and if you look at some of the players of the game here, obviously J.J. McCarthy had 214 passing, but also had yards on the ground. So obviously we'll go more into JJ in a bit, but obviously, just from an O perspective, Blake Corum had another almost 100-yard game, 2 touchdowns. He's been really, where Edwards has admittedly struggled a little. Blake Corum, really a solid player here. He makes those cuts that just if you're on defense, good luck stopping him. And when you need 1 yard, he'll get you 3. And there were times today where, that could have been a punt if it wasn't for Blake Corum.
How many yards did Corum? I know he had a good game. How many yards did he have rushing? I said 156. Was I off by a lot?
So 97 rushing.
Okay. So yeah.
Total. But let's see what he had on the. So I don't think he had any receiving today. So yeah, so 97, and then 2 touchdowns, 21 carries. But JJ was number 2. So they really did utilize the option, kind of some of those quarterback keepers that I thought were, when they do. I think one of my favorite things that they do is the option plays and the fake handoffs, where like you're faking it to the running back and then JJ keeps it, or you're faking it to the running back, but then you throw to the running back. They did that again today, but this time with Blake Corum. So I thought that was really good. I took a lot of notes here, but so how about you've been really big on the freshman wide receivers, and Samaj Morgan had a touchdown that I thought was NFL level, because Rutgers had really good defense the whole game, coverage on Morgan, but Morgan was still able to catch the ball. I mean, what did you think about what he was able to do there?
From what I've seen, the guy played really great coverage on him. It was just like you said, I think it was an NFL caliber catch, because he didn't have a lot of room to catch that ball. I think that was a really great catch he made. Yeah, that guy's going to be special, that Samaj Morgan.
Absolutely. Muffin Man, I don't disagree. Edwards has now Edwards is being used more in the receiving game, it seems. He was the 3rd highest receiver today. And so, they have been kind of rotating him into that position a little bit more, and maybe a trips left. You saw him, so they've been kind of utilizing him in the receiving game, which I think has been working a little bit.
I'm not going to lie though. It is a bit concerning on Edwards' production, and that the fact that I know he could catch probably better than most of our receivers, but the fact that they had him spread out more than he was running the ball today is that's a bit concerning if you're a Michigan fan, I would say.
Yeah, because if we don't want to say this, but obviously Corum was injured at the end of last year, and Donovan Edwards was able to carry the load. So can he do it this year, or is he maybe a step under what he used to be? That's really a question, because if you look here, Khalil Mullings. So Blake was number 1, but then JJ and Khalil Mullings both had more rushing yards than Donovan Edwards. So that's not exactly what you want to see.
Or maybe do you give Big Ben Hall a chance at number 2, RB number 2, and see what he can do?
Hey, I love Ben Hall. You know, I love me some Ben Hall, and I think he's got it. I think you'll see him more as things go on.
And I don't want to make it seem like I'm disrespecting, because I'm grateful for everything that Donovan Edwards did for us last year, but I don't know if it's the injury still. I don't know if that's still bothering him. He's not himself though. From what I've seen this year, he's definitely not himself.
Yeah, I will say that Colston Loveland continues to be somebody that is trusted by JJ, somebody who's utilized in all kinds of different concepts, from the flea flicker that we saw. They keep doing the flea flicker like at least once a game, and this time it went to Loveland. He's being used in motion a lot, and he was used as a blocker at times today. And if you remember, there was some drama where people, including like Eric All's family, were saying, well, Colston Loveland isn't that great of a blocker. He was used as a blocker today and it went fine. He was a better blocker than the lineman at one time. So
yeah, a lot of people don't realize that Colston Loveland is a pretty good blocker too.
He is. So obviously it's football season. Get your Voice of College Football merch. We have a bunch of amazing products on the Voice of College Football merch store that I strongly recommend everybody check out, including for the Michigan merch as well. So check that out on our merch site. So take number 2, and obviously I think we were all kind of like thinking that this is what was going to happen, that JJ McCarthy would show improvement in this game. And I think it was very clear that he did. 15 for 21, 265 total yards when you combine the pass and the run. He also had a passing touchdown. That's a lot of yards, Jason. So clearly he bounced back from last week.
Yeah, he definitely played better than last week. I would might have to call me selfish, but I would like to see him throw more passing touchdowns. I know sometimes it's a lot to ask, but he only had one today. I guess he really didn't have to do a lot. I mean, to be honest, because our run game just took over in the second half. So.
Absolutely. JJ looked like himself again today. I think they probably had a lot of pep talks and a lot of practices on just accuracy this week. That's what I kind of expected to happen with Jim Harbaugh back. But yeah, I was very happy with his performance today. I thought he did very well. And Roman Wilson, obviously Roman Wilson and CJ, when they get open, and he's able to get those ones in the end zone, like that's obviously great. So I think what you'll see, Jason, is you'll probably see more passing touchdowns when you get to games like Penn State, Ohio State, where it really needs to happen. They'll draw Wilson out and CJ out into the end zone. But for this game, it wasn't needed because the whole idea was to go the run and draw the game out and force the defense to be on. So I don't hate that there was only one. At least we did see one with Morgan, and that was awesome to watch. So, that part doesn't concern me as much, knowing what their game plan was in the game.
The secondary did concern me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's maybe because they're a little rusty, with Will and the other guy coming back. Who was that? Who was the other guy coming back? Will Johnson and
Rod Moore.
And Rod Moore, yeah. Maybe there's a little bit of rust there.
Yep.
They were. It was a little bit concerning in the first half because they were giving up some big plays, passing, not huge plays, but chunk plays.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first touchdown was really, I would call it soft zone coverage there. Sainristil just couldn't get over quick enough on the play that was before the touchdown. And then I do think it was a whiff with Sainristil on that the touchdown. Makari Page also, there's just a little bit of a whiff there. Although I mean they were assigned, but yeah, just another second and they probably would have been able to get it. But
yeah, we gave up one big play the whole game, and that was early on that pass. I mean, other than that, our defense pretty much shut them down after that, especially in the second half.
Yeah. And I will say, I think that they made good adjustments. That's what I would say. I think that one thing that Jesse Minner is really good at is identifying, okay, maybe we need to change up how we're doing our formations on defense. Maybe this kind of zone where we're bend, don't break type. Maybe we need to switch that up a little bit. to a little bit more man, a little bit more coverage that way, and clearly that happened throughout the game. So that was great. I would say, though, some of these people who are saying this team feels off, I disagree. I think that this was a game that clearly it was a definitive, and I even called it domination. And the reason is just look at total yards. Look at statistically where we were. So if you look at this,
look at time of possession too.
415 to 257. Passing yards, Rutgers did do due to that a couple of big plays that we allowed. Passing yards was pretty even. Rushing yards was all Michigan, 201 to 77. We had more yards per play, more first downs, more third down efficiency, more fourth down efficiency, more total plays, less punts, less penalties, like time of possession. So literally in almost every statistical category, Michigan won this game handily. So I disagree with saying that this was anything less than a dominating performance.
Not only that, John, didn't Rutgers average over 200 rushing yards a game before coming into this game?
They were really good on the run with Monagai.
And they got held to 77. And their star running back, how many yards did he have? 27? 27 yards, I think it was.
Not many. It was 27 for an average of 2.5. So their quarterback had more rushing yards than their star running back.
But that tells you all you need to know right there, John, about how legit our defense is.
Yeah. There was one other piece that I saw, which, and this is something, again, I know we already talked about offense, but one thing that I really liked to see was on the O-line, and it was in the second half when Michigan had the drive there. Couple of things I really like to see, the D gap opening up. So the D gap in between the tight end and the tackle opened up, and Corum was able to go a couple of times for a lot of yardage there. So really great to see the O-line. It's really gelling. I still am not sold on Hinton at right tackle. I'm still not sold there. I still think Barnhart's a better choice for right tackle. I don't really know what. Maybe he's just lighting it up in practice.
Wow.
That's really the only thing I can see.
Yeah, I'm even thinking like maybe we can put Anderson in at tackle and let him see what he can do.
Yeah, Ladarius is legit. I don't know.
He's better. I'm pretty sure he's better than Hinton.
Sharon Moore, I have to trust his judgment because of what he's done, but I'm just not sold on it yet, but we'll see. Maybe, they did get a lot of push at various points today. So we'll take it day by day. We do want to remind everybody also that we have a new SEC channel, and a new Big 12 channel that you guys can check out. So I said Michigan's secondary is mostly weak. Looked a little weak today, but Mike Sainristil, and you and I talked about this, Jason. Mike Sainristil being moved to defense may be one of Jim Harbaugh's smartest decisions, other than firing Don Brown.
Not gonna argue.
He is an impact player and makes plays every game to turn the tide. And obviously, Ohio State last year, the biggest example of that. But just makes plays every game that turns the tide of the game to Michigan. It's really something cool to watch. What do you think?
Yeah, Mikey's such a dog, man. He's such a good player. That's a guy right there. You just can't help but love, even if you're not a Michigan fan. Just the way he plays the game with so much heart. And that play was huge for Michigan. That interception he took back for the touchdown, I think that completely changed the game right there. That was a game changer.
Absolutely, it was 71 yards. Interception. He also had 2 tackles, but that interception was just next level NFL play, and you're going to need that against Penn State with a better quarterback. You're going to need that against Ohio State with Kyle McCord and those receivers. You need a player like this if you're going to make it through this slate with one loss or zero losses to get back to the championship and the playoff.
You got to have dogs on your team if you're going to win a title. For sure.
No doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that already, David. Yeah, I'm going to ask everybody to try not to be so pessimistic. Like, this is like, I know that there's, I know we all love the team and it's coming from a good place, but I feel that today made me feel so much better about Michigan when we got to the second quarter onwards.
100, John. 100.
All right. So with Mikey Sainristil, obviously, that was one player. But once we got from the second quarter and then onwards, it got worse. Even I would say for Rutgers because Michigan just started taking over on both sides of the game on the trenches, which is kind of what I thought. Like if Michigan could survive the initial burst and the initial onslaught in the first quarter, I thought we would be fine. And that's exactly what happened. Michigan just owned it on the trenches.
Well, John, remember I was telling you when we were talking earlier, I said at half, I was like, Michigan needs to punch them in the mouth when they come out in the second half. They need to drive it down there, score a touchdown, and put this thing away. And that's exactly what they did. And from that point on, Michigan was all the momentum was Michigan's way. They started running the ball a lot better in the second half. They looked like the Michigan that we saw last year. That's what they looked like.
I agree completely. And, while I do still have, like I said, some questions about the O-line, it's clear that the physicality is there. It's what Michigan does. And that's been our MO since Jim Harbaugh's been with Michigan, and especially since Sharon Moore has taken over as O-line coach and now OC, and Jesse Minter at DC. Like, this is what we're seeing. So real quick reminders, join our Patreon Discord, talk Wolverines all the time. So you can either go to patreon.com/MarkRogersTV for $5 or YouTube membership, which starts as low as $2.99. And also when you're doing your shopping on Amazon, every single link you can go, Mark Rogers gets a couple of bucks if you use the Amazon link in any description when you're just already doing shopping. So it costs no additional, and it's the same shopping experience. So you might as well if you're doing it anyway. And finally, our last take, and then we do have a couple of calls in the queue, and we appreciate that. So take number 6. It was great seeing Jim Harbaugh out there. And just, arm in arm with McCarthy, getting back out there, doing his thing. It just, we were missing it. The first 3 games, it just felt like they didn't want to crash the train. That just don't fumble the bag, don't crash the train. Let's just escape with wins. Jim Harbaugh comes back and says, I'm going to do a 4th and 1 call on our own 30. What was it about the Michigan 30-yard, or it was really far back, closer to the and I don't know if Minter or Moore or Hart or Jay Harbaugh would have made that call. That was a ballsy call on 4th and 1. We probably should have gotten the first earlier, like you said, but that was cool to see.
That's that was very ballsy, but that just goes to show you how much confidence Jim has in the offensive line, even though we got 2 new players.
I agree. Yeah, that's and I guess part of it is when JJ can get you 2 or 3 yards on the ground, and you're that confident in it. Like Blake Corum can get you the yard. JJ McCarthy could probably get you 2 or 3 on the perimeter. So you have some. I guess it's that's a little, it adds a little confidence, even in a situation where you're backed up like that. All right, Jason.
All
So
right.
we got a couple of people in queue, and the first one is, of course, friend of the program, Mike Fort is in the house. Mike, great to have you here. Go Blue.
Hey guys,
What
how's it
up, Mike?
going?
Hey, Mike.
Going great.
It's great hanging out with you.
It's great.
So we actually had a Patreon hangout last night. Mike was in the house, and so we appreciate that.
Yeah, and then I went for a cigar and y'all bailed on me.
I did bail. Yeah,
It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
It's always great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
absolutely. Mike, what was your take on the game? What did you think?
I thought it was a great game. I mean, outside the initial drive, but if you take away, that play was at 67 yards. I mean, Rutgers' offense was just sputtering the entire time.
Yep.
So, I mean, the defense, lived up to expectations. The offense, it had its moments. I mean, we only scored 24 points on offense. 7 of it obviously came from the pick six, but I think people just need to slow up. First of all, Rutgers was 3-0, and they've looked really good. And John will even I said Rutgers was going to be a bold.
Yeah,
Rutgers is going to be a bold team this year. Now, I think they're clearly the 5th best team in the East. I mean, they're not approaching, Maryland, but
Rutgers is a good team, and people are. And after this win, I guarantee people are going to be saying, "Oh, you beat a bad team." Oh, Rutgers is 3-0, dude.
yeah, and I mean they had
They're a bad team.
They had a dominant win against Northwestern. I mean, take that for what it's worth, but they've won their games comfortably. So I mean, I think Rutgers still gets stigmatized from a few years ago when they just got absolutely destroyed by us. But this is not the same Rutgers team as your older brother had remembered.
Oh.
I mean,
you gotta give Rutgers defense credit too. They held Corn to 97 yards, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, their defense has definitely improved. They say Wimsatt, he's not gonna beat you with his arm, but he does have some mobility. And I thought Shiano's offense did good. They took what Michigan gave them because it looked like it was frustrating because I saw Wimsatt kind of stretch it east and west. Do a lot of these read options. I mean they game plan pretty well. It's just that he just can't. I mean, even some of his completions was because their receivers just laid out for those balls. They weren't incredibly well thrown balls, but their receivers really stepped up. So I mean, I give credit to Rutgers. I wouldn't sit there. I'm not one of these doom and gloomers. Chicken Little sky is falling because we only beat Rutgers by 24. But
we covered though. We were favored by 24. We covered.
I ain't worried
Mike,
about it.
the other actually we have a couple of mics in here, I think, but one of the other mics is saying I agree they'll get a bowl. Rutgers could go as high as 8-4. They look really, really good, and especially on defense and their running back. Like I think they're at least going to get to 6 wins now.
I got them going 8-4 too. I think they can get to 8-4. They're that good.
They would have to really step up because you got to figure, they still got Ohio State, Penn State, Maryland. I think they have Iowa in a crossover. So,
I think they'll beat Maryland. Just call me crazy, but I think they're going to beat Maryland.
Wow. Well,
that's
the take. Josh Gaddis effect. Maybe.
I don't think Maryland is as good as everybody thinks they are. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't
know. I think their defense needs to improve. I mean, they're kind of a solid 4th place in the East, but I'm not writing them off. I mean, I think Rutgers can make a game of Maryland, but I don't see them beating them. But I said 6-6, and I like that prediction. I think there's 5 teams on their schedule that are clearly better than them, and there might be a game they drop. But I mean, 6-6 for Rutgers, that's still a good step up. I mean, given the recent history, they were terrible.
We do have an interesting stat to show you. So today was the 75th win for Jim Harbaugh as the head coach of the University of Michigan. So it was great to have him back, and he got his 75th win. That is freaking awesome.
king is back, baby.
He is absolutely back. And Mike, yeah, I mean, listen, I wouldn't have been shocked to see 55-14, although given the fact that the game now is so much faster, like I had this post game scheduled for like 4:00, and I had to go, and the game was over. It wasn't even 3 yet. Like it is such a fast, like with the new rules, it's just such a faster game that it's going to be harder to get scores like that unless you get a lot of defensive takeaways. And we did get one, which was great, but yeah, it's tough to win 55-14 in this era now.
And Michigan games are always going to be shorter because they're always ball control games.
Well, games are going to be shorter in general now with the clock rules. With the clock running now.
Commercials kind of kill that, but it didn't really surprise me that the game ended early because I looked at coming up at for me I'm at Central Time. He said 2:30. It was like John's gonna have to step that one up a little bit. We're gonna be sitting around for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Dave, thank you for the John looks like Notre Dame sent an undercover agent and they used the mascot. There you go. Yes, the Irish in me definitely takes over the Italian in me for sure. But no, definitely not a Notre Dame fan. So I am a fan
Florida State scored.
Will ND, but not of his team.
I'm a Notre Dame fan today.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are going to be rooting for.
We're all fans today.
We're going to be rooting for Will ND and Golden Playbook and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish because on the other side of the coin, it's our biggest rival and biggest enemy, that team down south. So
I think everyone is a fan of Notre Dame and Oregon today. They both want them to win.
There is no question about that, Jason. And we do have one more caller that is called in. So we're going to bring on our last caller right now. Go Blue is here. Go Blue, welcome. Welcome to Michigan Postgame Live.
Hey, what's up, man? Real quick, man. You're not going to see Hinton again. After he whiffed on that sack, he was benched. I'd be surprised if you see Hinton again.
Okay.
So,
this was the 4th game. I thought he was going to be out game 2.
No, I agree, but like that was significant considering also when they benched him, the fact he stayed out the whole time after that. Mm-hmm. It was still 2-3 score game, and the line without Hinton played phenomenally better. Yeah. Like it wasn't even close. Yeah. The pass blocking was better. The run blocking was way better. So again, I'd be shocked if they did that. I'd be shocked. Also,
who replaced him? Oh, do you know who replaced him?
Yeah, they put Barnhart at right tackle and they put Henderson at left.
Henderson.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. See, John, I said they need to put Henderson in, man. That's right. Telling people.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. He was in there. He was in there for the majority of the second half. After Hinton whiffed on that sack where JJ got sacked, he didn't see the field as a starter.
Oh my God. Good. Maybe he's done, and we get a Henderson though.
I'd be shocked, especially considering how good they played with that lineup. And I get it. Hinton's got a lot of upside. Maybe that's why they were going for that. But Barnhart was really good at right tackle last year.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the starting 5, and I'm happy with it. Donovan Edwards, man, what is going on with him?
Yeah.
He is just not seeing the field at all. There was I think one of his last runs. Yeah, one of his last runs, the line got pushed on the left side. He decided to go to the right, and I was like,
"Yeah,
what are you doing?" Do you guys think there's any chance Mullings gets a look at RB2?
No. The only way I see him getting any more time.
Ben Hall will probably.
If
I like what I saw from Mullings at the end.
If Sharon starts like making some like goal to go packages where he just bowling balls Mullings in there, that's probably the peak of what Mullings will do.
Marshall beat Virginia.
I don't know, man.
Tech.
Here's my thing. I get it. It's Donovan Edwards. He's been amazing for us. But if he continues to play, let's be frank, terrible when it comes to running the ball, I mean, at some point you're going to have to make a call there and change up how you use them. You just do.
They are changing up how they. So they're using him in the perimeter and in the pass game. They're not like he was the fourth best rushing yarder today. It was Corum, JJ, Mullings, and then Edwards because he was being used in the pass game. So I think
I agree.
Yeah, Donovan's going to be more of a slot guy from the future.
Yeah,
because here's the thing: when he gets the ball on an inside, any type of inside run, I hold my breath because he either goes down right away or he doesn't see what's going on.
Well, John,
so
or go blue. Me and John was talking about this earlier. I think whatever injury he had on his leg, I think it's still there's something going on. It's still nagging or something because this isn't the Donovan Edwards we saw last year. There's something going on there. There has to be.
Well, I mean, also you have to figure out how much of that this is based on one game where Jim Knowles kind of dropped the ball.
Well, let's be real. People I hear people say that, and I never agree with it. People always are like he's better than Corum. I've always disagreed with this, and the only reason people think he's better than Corum is because he has one area where he's better than Corum, and that's home run hitting. That's it, though. Everything else, Corum is way better.
Yeah,
I never thought he was better than Corum. I just thought
me neither. But there's a lot of people who did just because he's a home run hitter, and I'm like, really? Because of one aspect, running. It takes a lot more to be a running back than just breakaway speed.
Well, look at who he had.
If Corum could get his pass game, going with the pass, he'll be a really good back in the NFL. I think.
Oh yeah, look, they can still use him in a lot of ways. Like I like him in the 2-back set. I like him in the slot. I just don't want to see him doing inside. I mean, it's weird to say, but he needs to be an outside zone, outside run guy. His between the tackle running is so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if Donovan's going to be in the game, kind of treat him like a Marshall Faulk type deal.
Yeah, and I'm being real, man. I like what I saw from Mullings in that fourth quarter, man. I know he's but he's running better between the tackles than Donovan Edwards, and I know this is probably in the moment take, but still.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was utilized in the Ohio State game, the Purdue game, and TCU game as more of an inside because he had to be. But when he doesn't have to be, then don't. Like if he's able, if we're able to have Corum and Mullings as the inside runners, and then we're able to put Edwards in a slot position or some type of slot receiver or whatever the case may be, then let's.
And you could run them, and you could run them. You could still run them, but do it on in a 2-back set and have them do outside zones and outside runs. Don't have them really attack because he can't run between tackles. The defense, man, the cushion that our DBs were given was pissing me off. Sorry for the language, but
no, you're fine.
I was like, what are we doing? Like, we're giving 15 yards of cushion here. I mean, that's really my only complaint with it.
Yeah, soft zone at the beginning.
Well, that was more.
Oh, and look out, Mikey did go to the medical tent. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Oh. No.
Oh no! Did he? Oh no!
He did. He did in the fourth quarter. He got hit, and then they said he was limping a little bit and went to the medical tent. So we got to keep an eye on that.
Oh, that's
well, dude played like a warrior today. Let him
when me and John was talking about Donovan was when he's playing slot receiver more than he's running the ball, that's an issue. There's something going on there.
Yeah, he's always been I mean, you saw this in the TCU game. He's always, if the crease isn't there for him to just break out and run like a good hard run or, something like that, he consistently gets hit in the backfield, consistently.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. But yeah,
like you said, I think he's more of an outside runner than an inside runner.
Yeah, he's a slot guy that you use to stretch the field also horizontally. That's what I think he should be primarily used for. And let me tell you, Corum, they hit the weight he put on. It may slow him down a little bit, but let me tell you, that dude's harder to tackle than he's ever been.
Well, I mean, a lot of this was evident last year. I mean, if you look at those two big runs against Ohio State, I could have ran through those two holes that he ran through. I mean, that was. I mean, we all like to praise Donovan. That was the O-line's gold medal moment right there. I mean, he had massive holes to run through on those two plays.
Oh yeah. Is anyone able to look up an update and see they did any more updates on Mikey?
I was looking and I can't find anything. Maybe on Twitter there's something going on. But
well, yeah. What's her name? Angelique. You know what I'm talking about? The reporter, the Michigan reporter. I think her name's Angelique something. She reported it initially that he went to the medical tent in the fourth quarter. I don't know if they updated it in the post game yet. I hope he's good, man, because
all I can see is the reporting on that play, and then so it looks like, I mean, Sainristil did have kind of an interview. So Jim did his famous thing where he handed off, the head coaching interview and gave it to Mike Sainristil. So, maybe he's because I don't really see anything about an injury. So maybe he just had to go for a little bit of a checkup or something. But
hopefully.
If we hear more, we'll obviously report it on our community posts if we hear something. But
yeah, no doubt. I think they were missing Mason Graham a little bit. Well, maybe more than a little bit. Look, the defense was dominant, but Mason Graham, I mean, you can still see like how much of an impact he has when he's not there.
Yeah, Mikey and JJ got interviewed after the game, so.
I thought the D was getting pressure without him. I thought they were doing good.
Yeah, but there was also plenty of times where they weren't getting pressure. Look, the D is arguably the best in the country right now. I don't think there's much debate for that. We're just really nitpicking here, honestly. We're being real.
Yeah,
we are.
One nitpick I had was JJ on the field goal to make it 17-7. Mm-hmm. He had a crosser wide open. I know he threw for the end zone, but he had a crosser that was wide open. Probably would have got the first down, to be honest. Just little things like that.
Yeah, he said JJ and Mikey got interviewed after the game. He's probably fine.
Yeah.
I hope so. Shit.
Well, if I'm going to make a complaint about JJ is the fact that now I know that he got it, but whenever he stretched the ball out to get that first down on the third, I did not like that because I don't like it when JJ tries to play hero ball when he tries to do everything himself. Because I agree. That was very risky. That ball could have easily been.
I don't think he was trying to play hero. He was just trying to get the first down.
Yeah, but I agree with Mike there. That was very risky. But that's also why I like JJ. He's a dog. He's a dog. He's going to try to get every. I mean, nothing's perfect. Everything's got pros and cons. And when you have a quarterback that's a gamer like that, there's going to be a little bit of risky moves that he's going to take.
There was a couple
touchdown Maryland, by the way. Touchdown Maryland.
There was a couple calls I didn't like by the refs too that went bad for us. Like on that fourth down play.
Yeah, there were some questionable. I mean, I don't really like to talk about the officiating much because we wound up getting like what I like about Michigan, and one of the things that kind of calmed me down a bit after the last game is that despite the officiating, Michigan. Like I think the hallmark of the really good to elite teams is the officiating doesn't go your way and you still overcome it. And this was a game where like there was a questionable 4th and 1 spot, there was a questionable PI, there's a couple of questionable calls, and it didn't matter. And that's what I liked. Like it didn't matter.
Well, it's not going to matter against Rutgers, but when you start playing the Penn States and the Ohio States and the playoff games. These aren't teams that, bad officiating can be overcome.
Right.
Well, I think we did get a break because the refs picked up that flag for the unsportsmanlike conduct. I could actually see that being called because
I
there
could
was
too,
kind of,
and
there was a push.
yeah,
There was a push in the backs like that. I could kind
it's
of
just
see.
unnecessary. Like, why are we doing that?
Yeah, I mean, that was a bad brain move.
No, you look, that's his first game back.
Yeah.
He's probably a little juiced up, you know. So, Rob Moore, you know, he looked like they kind of had him on a little bit of a snap count to me. I think they took him out several different times throughout the game. Josh Wallace, that's his name, right? Josh Wallace.
Josh Wallace, CB2, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to
Yeah,
clean
he
up
was the
some
worst.
things. He needs
Yeah,
to
he
clean
was
up
the
some
worst
things.
DB out there. He gave up a
He
few big plays today.
Yeah, well, he's
Yeah.
giving a ridiculous amount of cushion. I'm like, bro, like, and then the one time he did play the ball good, he didn't though because instead of actually playing the ball, he like hit the receiver, which was the PI flag.
Will Johnson basically shut down his receiver. That's what he does. So I'm not shocked there.
It was great to see him back out there. I mean, Will Johnson, he's just so good. I mean, obviously a little bit of rust because it's his first game back, but it's clear
He's the best
on the team. Any game that you're playing, you're going to be at an advantage until you get to like Penn State, Ohio State, where they have maybe a little bit of an answer, but against teams like Rutgers, yeah, he really does put that talent differential in play.
Well, yeah, they
put
got to
Will
clean
Johnson-
up the. Go ahead.
I'll put Will Johnson up against any quarterback in college football. I still say he's the best.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they do got to clean up the other corner spot a little bit. Maybe it's just a rep thing, and it's also schematically. I'm gonna say it again. They got to stop doing that cushion crap. I mean, you're giving a free, 5 to 10 yards every time.
We also had a tweet from Mark Rogers, voice of college football. That 4th and 2 pick 6 broke Rutgers. No shocker in Ann Arbor today. Michigan's D line has dominated this game. Yeah, that 4th and 2 pick 6 was and like this is not the first game that like Mike Sainristil has changed the dynamic and just broken a team. And it's actually one of quite a couple of games that he's done that in. So
well, you can't look. You can't run a screen pass on Michigan this year. They sniff it out every time.
Well, I mean, he kind of made his mark after that Cade Stover breakup in the game last year.
Exactly. That was what I was kind of referring to. Yeah. Yeah. That Cade Stover breakup was perfect. It had to be in order for that to happen.
Oh yeah, there was no room for error.
I was happy for Mikey, man. I was happy for Mikey because that guy, he's a dog, man. He played so hard. He deserved that touchdown.
He's really good at keeping his eyes and hands on the ball. There was a play against UNLV, I think it was, where it was a sideline. It ended up being a catch, but like he like bobbled the pass and like played the ball really well. It was just a free catch. Like he's really good at that.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So what we'll do now, we'll do final thoughts. Where can people find you on the internet? But if you want to share that, but before we do, just a reminder, Mondays, 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern is our Big Ten live show. And from 8 to 10, I host what's called the Ocho. So we have our panel, and we usually have people come in and out at 8 to 9 because so many people want to call in, which we always appreciate. We also have 30-minute war. So couple of the shows are subject to change times due to work obligations, including Michigan show. So I'm thinking about moving it to a later time because people have work and so we'll get back to you on that in the next day or two. But definitely Monday, 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern, Big Ten Live. And, of course, today, as every Saturday, we'll have our mega wrap-up show with Mark Rogers, voice of college football, around 11 p.m. Eastern, maybe a little earlier, which you're all welcome to call into that. Everybody in our community, as well as the other communities, go ahead and check that out at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. But let's start with we'll start with Go Blue. If you have a final thought for everybody, would love to share that.
Yeah, my final thoughts is overall, I feel really good about the game. I think the main thing I feel really good about is the O-line switch. I kind of been calling for that. I mean, hitting as much potential as he could have, he just doesn't play up to the potential. Point blank. Period. I'm very happy with that. I think that O-line could be potentially again another Joe Moore finalist. If we base off how they played. I think we got the best front seven in college football, and I'm not sure it's particularly close this year. Honestly, I just watched that. I just watched that front seven, and it gives me Georgia-esque. Make that hard, but it is what it is. AJ, I think he played good, but
Hey, Go Blue, you're breaking up, man. So we're gonna let you go, but Go Blue, thanks for being on. Okay. All right. So next up, we got Mike Fort. Final thought for us.
Like I said, just played a great game. Defense did great. Offense, it's going to get there. A lot of this is just Harbaugh does what he does. He's not trying to run up the score. He's not trying to put 50 on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And say don't be expecting much next week, because next week we got to go to Lincoln, and Nebraska's defense is on point this year. I mean, their offense is something terrible, but their defense is good. So I mean, if you're going to this Nebraska game thinking we're going to put up 45-50, and if we don't hit 45-50, our offense is terrible, quit it right now, because I ain't going to have it.
Yeah. I think anybody who's being really pessimistic right now, what do you expect? Like, this is I genuinely believe today was a dominating performance. And Nebraska will be a tighter game, and we should expect that. Like, when you're going on the road, and with the new rules the way that they are, nobody should be predicting a 55-10 Michigan game. It's going to be another one of these types of games where maybe it's a Michigan victory, but it's not going to be like a freaking 78-0 type. It's just not. It's different era, and so I think we'll win. But let's Nebraska played us tough a couple of years ago, if you remember, and that was with Scott Frost. So
yeah.
Anything can happen.
If you want to know where to find me, I'll probably be on the Big Ten Michigan for the Ocho on Monday.
There you go. We'll see you on the Ocho. Thanks for coming by, Mike.
No problem. Go Blue.
Go Blue. All right, and we're down to you, Jason. So final thought for us, and we'll post your Twitter as well here.
My final thought is Michigan played much better today than it did last week. Holding the Rutgers running back to 27 yards is very impressive, considering what he's been doing the last few games. I think overall our defense is playing championship level football right now, and I think and if you're a Michigan fan, it's an exciting time right now to be a fan.
It is. We're going for a third straight Big Ten championship, and we actually saw. I saw a picture of this. I'm going to try to pull it up. The Big Ten championship banner was hung at, and so I'm trying to find it. But it was very cool to see the 20. There was the Ohio State one in 2020, and then you've got 2 straight Michigan ones, and hopefully can add a third to that here in a couple of months.
And I think what Mike Fort was saying about our offense will get there. It's making good strides right now. It's not quite where it needs to be, but it's close. I think a little bit of tweaking it'll be there. Also, and that's about it. I think Nebraska next week, like Mike was saying, they're playing very good defense, but I also thought that Rutgers was playing really good defense too when we played them today. So. And even before that, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a step up defensively when we played Nebraska. I think we're going to see about the same we saw with Rutgers today. So I'm expecting around the same result, or maybe even worse, to be honest, because Nebraska's offense, I think, is worse than Rutgers, to be honest, from what I see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. And you know, I'm also going to ask everybody, by the way, to follow me on Twitter. Just past 1,000 followers, and want to keep growing that. So we can ask for that to happen. But Jason, we have your link in there, and really appreciate you stepping in here to fill in on the show today. So go Blue, man.
No problem, John. Thanks for having me, and go Blue.
Go Blue. All right. So I'm gonna stop the. That was pretty cool to see the 75th show, or the 75th win. I mean, and we just want to encourage everybody, like I said, to join the wrap up call in show at 11 p.m. Eastern, so we can do that. All right, folks. Until next time, this is John Diadamo saying, "Go Blue," and we will see you on the next show. So why do I have Jerry's up there? There we go. Join the wrap-up call-in show at 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m., maybe a little earlier. So we'll see if we can do that. All right, y'all. See you next time. Go Blue.